The women Rochester forgot. The killer the city never caught. Rochester, New York, late autumn. The Genesee River runs black under the bridges. They started pulling women out of it in 1988. Then more again. Prostitutes, drug users, throwaways. That's the word the brass used when they thought no one was listening. By the time anyone counted, the number was somewhere north of a dozen. Some say 19, some say more. One man confessed to 3, got life. The killings didn't stop. So who else was out there? Who is still out there? Tonight, we walk the riverbank. We look at the bodies the city tried to forget. And we ask the question Rochester never wanted asked. How many killers were hunting these streets? Act 1. The Stain. Bodies in the river and a city that shrugged. The first one they remember was Dorothy Blackburn, November 1988, found in Salmon Creek, throat slashed. A bite mark on her knee, deep, deliberate, like a signature carved in flesh. She was 27, a sex worker, the kind of victim the morning papers buried on page 11. Then came Anna Marie Stephan, Patricia Ives, Frances Brown, June Stotts. Then came Anna Marie Stephan, Patricia Ives, Frances Brown, June Stotts. 5, 6, 7. The river kept giving them back. Most were strangled, some stabbed. All of them dumped, discarded in the gorges and creeks of Monroe County, like garbage left at the curb. The bodies were nude, or partly nude, posed in ways that suggested the killer wasn't in a hurry. He took his time. He came back. Investigators found a pattern. He was returning to the dump sites, revisiting. Some bodies showed signs of being moved, staged, days after death. He liked their company, even cold. Rochester had a serial killer. Everyone in the precinct knew it. Nobody at City Hall wanted to say it out loud, because saying it meant admitting these women mattered. And admitting these women mattered meant explaining why no one was looking for them when they vanished. The neighborhoods knew. Lyle Avenue, North Clinton. The strolls where the working girls walked. They started carrying knives, buddy systems, code words. It didn't help. By 1989, the count was at 10, maybe 11. Bodies in the creeks, bodies in the woods off Route 31. One found 3 days before Christmas, frozen to the dirt. And then, in January 1990, 2 state troopers parked off Northrop Creek Road spotted a green Chevy idling near a bridge. A man stood beside the guardrail, looking down at something in the ravine. When the troopers approached, he gave them a name: Arthur Shawcross. The thing in the ravine was June Stotts, dead for weeks. They had him, or so they thought. Act 2. The Shadows. One killer caught, the murders that wouldn't stop. Arthur Shawcross was a monster with paperwork. He'd already killed 2 children in Watertown, New York back in the 70s. Did 15 years, paroled in 1987. The parole board sent him to Binghamton. The town ran him out. Then Delhi, then Vestal. Each town learned what he was and pushed him along until he landed in Rochester. Nobody told Rochester. Nobody warned a single soul. Just dropped a child killer into a city full of vulnerable women and crossed their fingers. He confessed to 11 murders, got 10 consecutive life sentences. Case closed. Mayor smiled for the cameras. The river, supposedly, was safe again. Except women kept dying. In the years after Shawcross was locked away, through the 90s into the 2000s, the bodies kept turning up. Different MO sometimes, same demographic, same neighborhoods. Carmen Colon, Wanda Wolkowitz, Michelle Maenza, the alphabet murders of the 70s. 3 little girls, same first and last initial, dumped in towns starting with the same letter. Never solved. Shawcross was nowhere near them. Rochester didn't have one serial killer. It had a season of them, overlapping, hunting the same streets, using the same dumping grounds, mistaken for each other for 30 years. Detectives chased ghosts. They'd clear a case, then find another body that matched it perfectly. And the man they'd cleared was already in prison. Suspects rotated through the interrogation rooms like a bus station. A trucker who hauled produce up I-90. A maintenance man at one of the motels on West Ridge. A preacher's son with a record for assault. Alibis held. DNA didn't match. The files got thicker. The bodies got colder. And the women kept disappearing off the same 3 streets year after year. Like the city had a quota nobody would acknowledge. Somebody, or some bodies, was still hunting. And Rochester PD had no idea who. Act 3. The Deviant. Inside the mind of a man who liked the cold. Let's go back to Shawcross, because the file on him reads like an anatomy of evil. When they caught him, he led them to bodies they hadn't found yet, walked them through the woods, pointed. She's under that log. He told detectives he ate parts of his victims, cooked them. He spoke about it the way a man describes a Sunday roast. One investigator said Shawcross had the deadest eyes he'd ever seen on a living human, like talking to a vending machine that occasionally smiled. He kept trophies, drove past the dump sites. Sometimes, and this is the detail that haunts the case, sometimes he masturbated on the corpses days after the murders, when decomposition had already set in. The psychologists called him a necrosadist, a man whose pleasure required not just death, but decay. But here's the thing that twists the knife. Shawcross wasn't even the strangest predator working Rochester. Investigators looking at the other unsolved cases, the ones after 1990, found patterns Shawcross couldn't have made. A killer who tied complex knots, sailor's knots. Shawcross couldn't tie a shoelace without help. A killer who used a vehicle with a specific tire signature, registered to nobody, seen on grainy gas station tape near 3 different dump sites. And in 2012, police found something that froze them solid. A victim with ligature marks that matched a case from 1991. 21 years apart. Same wrist measurement. Same knot. Somebody had been keeping a hobby. They pulled internet records where they could. Local message boards, old AOL chat logs. Found a user, never identified, who had bragged in 1998 about cleaning the streets of Rochester. Posted from a public library. Wore a baseball cap. The CCTV was useless. He was there, typing. Smiling, probably. Knowing. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit drew up a profile in 2003. White male, 40s to 50s. Local. Employed. Married, possibly. Functional. The kind of neighbor who waves at you while bringing in the trash. The kind who'd been doing this since before Shawcross ever got paroled. And nobody knew his name. Act 4. The Trap. DNA, databases, and a door that still won't open. 2009. Genealogy DNA hits the consumer market. 2018. the Golden State Killer falls. Suddenly, every cold case unit in America has a new weapon. Rochester pulls the old kits. The rape kits that sat in storage for 20 years. The fingernail scrapings. The semen samples preserved in evidence freezers. They start running them. Some hit. Names emerge. A man in Greece, New York, dead of a heart attack in 2004, gets posthumously connected to 2 of the killings. Case closed on him. Family devastated. Neighbors stunned. Another suspect emerges from a partial match. A long-haul trucker who lived in Gates. He'd died in prison on an unrelated charge. 2 more murders accounted for. But the big one, the one detectives call Subject X, refuses to surface. They have his DNA from 4 separate crime scenes, spanning 1994 to 2011. They have a partial profile through genealogy, a family tree, distant cousins in Pennsylvania and Ohio. They get close, so close. But every branch they climb dead ends in privacy walls. Adopted relatives, sealed records. One key cousin who refuses to test, citing religion. Another who died without descendants. The investigators describe it like watching a face emerge from fog. Features sharpening, then dissolving. In 2019, they got a tip. Anonymous. A man in his 60s, living quietly in Irondequoit. Worked as a delivery driver. Wife, 2 grown daughters, never a parking ticket. They put him under surveillance. Followed him to a coffee shop. Bagged his discarded cup. DNA test came back. Not him. Close, same family, but not him. The actual killer was a relative. Somewhere. Still breathing. Still buying groceries. Still walking past mothers and daughters in the produce aisle. As of the latest filings, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office considers at least 6 murders in the Rochester corridor to be the work of a single, unidentified subject, still at large. Mask still on, door still closed. Act 5. The Void. The names the city tried to bury. Let me read you names, because nobody else will. Dorothy Blackburn, Anna Marie Steffen, Patricia Ives, Frances Brown, June Stotts, Elizabeth Gibson, Darlene Trippi, Felicia Stevens, and the others. The ones after Shawcross. The ones whose killer is still out there. Christine Sanchez, found in a vacant lot, 1997. Tina Stadt, found in the Genesee, 2003. Names that never made the national news. Faces the city erased. They were poor. They were addicted. They were sex workers. They were black, brown, white. Rochester's serial predators didn't discriminate by race, only by vulnerability. And vulnerability is exactly what the police department treated as consent to being forgotten. Mothers still call the precinct every November around the anniversary of the first dumping. Did you find him yet? Did you find who killed my baby? The detectives, the good ones, keep folders on their desks. They don't close them. They can't. One investigator told a reporter off the record, "I'll retire with her photo in my drawer, and I'll die not knowing." The river still runs under the bridges, black, patient. It's seen things this city refuses to admit. It remembers every body it carried. And somewhere, in a small house in Monroe County, or maybe just over the line in Duane, a man in his 60s watches the local news. sees the cold case anniversary segment, pours another cup of coffee, smiles. Epilogue. The river remembers. The city forgets. The killer drinks his coffee. Rochester caught one monster and called it a victory, hung a banner, moved on. But the women kept dying, and the files kept opening. And somewhere in the genealogy databases, a face is half emerged from the fog, waiting for one cousin to spit in a tube. Justice in this town isn't a verdict. It's a probability curve. 40 years, dozens of dead women. One name we know. The rest? Ghosts with badges chasing ghosts without faces. If you're listening tonight in Rochester, lock your doors, hug your daughters, and know that the river is still running. It's still hungry, and the man who fed it is still